Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, we had a fantastic Thursday so far. Um, and we are about to not Thursday, but Wednesday, as we are about to get on and talk about the weather for our third. Why do I keep on thinking that it's Thursday? It's definitely not Thursday. It's definitely Wednesday. So, let's go on and talk about the weather for our Wednesday. That sounds better. That sounds a lot better. I don't know why I want it to be Thursday so bad. I guess because I'm just done with this week in general. But speaking of, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, obviously, first off, because it is Wednesday, we obviously have to go on. We obviously have to go on and obviously give our round of applause because it is indeed halfway through the week. So now that that is out of the way, what else do we have to talk about? We also are going to talk about the weather for tonight, just in general, current conditions, and then also we also will continue to talk about how we will have some flash flooding that will move through. Also, some severe weather is going to move through tomorrow. We're going to talk about that, the tropics, because if you see by the actual screen right now, her tropical storm or future hurricane Humberto is about to impact this system that you can see right to the west of it. And I'm going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. We're going to show all the model guidance and stuff like that. But for now, we'll talk about that after we're done with this. And what do I mean by this? Current conditions. What's going on right now throughout the state of South Carolina? We do, in fact, have some rainfall that goes on up here inside of the far upstate. It's relatively light shower activity, but for the most part, that's all that I really see there. What's going on over for the entire United States? You have rainfall that goes all the way from Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, going into Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. We also do have some rainfall going on in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and even Missouri, Illinois, southern Illinois getting some of that rainfall, as well as Kentucky, Virginia also getting some of that rainfall, and even West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Rainfall going on over here near Maryland and obviously Delaware, going near to New York City, getting on some of that rainfall, as well as New York State and Vermont, New Hampshire. But as you move out to the central U.S., it's pretty light out here, nothing really going on. California's getting some shower, maybe some storm activity, but for the most part, that's all that we're seeing. Cloud cover. We do, in fact, have some cloud cover going on for the upstate of South Carolina. Upstate of South Carolina, definitely getting in on some of that cloud cover. We also do have some cloud cover going on down there just to the south and east of Augusta, but for the most part, it's relatively light and low, and that's inside the low country. Everyone else, though, is relatively dry. Now for our cloud cover for the future, as we go on and push this forward, that cloud cover will move its way to the east, and at this point, it looks like it's going to try and take over the upstate tomorrow morning, while the low country and the coastal areas, Grand Strand included, seems to be relatively clear. Even as you move even further into the afternoon, it looks like that cloud cover will mainly stay up there inside of the upstate. Yes, we will have some clouds moving down into the low country and the Grand Strand and PD areas, but it's going to be relatively light compared to what's going on in the upstate. Now for our current temperatures, it's 80 in Columbia, as well as 80 in Orangeburg, 76 in Somerville, as well as 76 inside of Georgetown, 77 inside of Murrells Inlet and Myrtle Beach, and even 74 in Conway, 77 in North Myrtle Beach, as well as 78 in Lancaster, 77 in Rock Hill, and 76 in York, 76 also inside of Gaffney and even Greenville, 78 in Anderson and Clemson, even 78 in Greenwood, and 80 inside of Aiken. We also do have around 77 in Charleston and 78 in Beaufort, 79 in Hilton Head Island. Now for low temperatures for tonight, you have around 70 inside of Greenville and Spartanburg and Rock Hill, 71 in Anderson, and 70 inside of Greenwood, 72 in Columbia, and even 72 in Orangeburg, 70 in Walter Brown, even 71 in Moncks Corner, 74 in Charleston, and 76 in Hilton Head Island, 71 in Georgetown, 73 in Myrtle Beach. For your rainfall for tonight, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch. Pretty much for like the areas like parts of the Midlands, the Southern Midlands, goes into Cheraw, Kingstree, going into Aiken, Barnwell, Tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch goes in for Columbia, to 8 to Orangeburg, to Camden, to even Rock Hill, Winnsboro, Newbury, and Greenwood. Anderson's included in there, Greenville's included in there, and even Spartanburg has a 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch. Quarter of an inch to a half an inch possible for places like Lawrence. And then somebody might even get potentially a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. It's possible, but it's not really going to be too widespread. It's not going to be too widespread at all. Now, what about your crazy score? If you have no idea what the crazy score is, the score that we see how crazy the weather is inside of South Carolina. And we're actually at a 16 right now. We're at a 16 inside the mild category, slightly breezy or cloudy, but no major concerns. And that is relatively what's going to occur tonight. If we go into the actual reasons as of why, it says that it's going to be relatively dry tonight. Patchy fog, though, is possible, especially in the Tri-County area. That's Dorchester, Berkeley, and Charleston County, with visibilities potentially from 1 to 5 miles. But the atmosphere will be mostly stable at that time frame, though, too. Now, for the thunderstorm risk for tonight, thunderstorms are still possible up there inside of the upstate, even though there's only like some shower activity going on. Apparently, they still think that there is some thunderstorm ingredients up there, so we're going to continue to keep that up there. And then for Thursday, tomorrow, our severe weather threat arrives. Our severe weather threat arrives for Thursday, as we have a marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. A marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. And you might be asking, what is the actual details of it? Well, damaging wind seems to be the highest threat. Isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour is possible as you move into tomorrow. So you have to watch for it, especially if you're up there in the upstate and the Midlands. And I'm not really too sold the closer you get to the coast. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in just a second after we go over the models. But it's there for the entire state. Everyone has a chance for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Now for Friday, again, the entire state has a thunderstorm risk, but it's not for severe weather, just regular thunderstorms in general. And I want to get here real quick, but before we get into there, I forgot to mention, so far we've had 15 people tune in inside of the live stream tonight. We only have 5 likes. I don't know what's going on there, especially since we have more than 5 people that have commented inside the chat. So especially if you're inside the chat right now and you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any single time. I just wanted to say that. Now, what about excessive rainfall? Starting off with tonight. With tonight, we still have this risk of some isolated excessive rainfall or isolated flash flooding. Again, that being a 5% risk over there inside of the far upstate. But that also does kind of go into tomorrow morning. Now, for day 2, this is for Thursday. Isolated flash flooding again. That goes from Greenville to Travelers Rest to Pickens to Anderson to Greenwood, Edgefield, Ridge Spring, Newbury all the way up into Winnsboro and Rock Hill. Isolated flash flooding is possible there. And then on Friday, we do have another risk for some excessive rainfall, and that time is for a good amount of the state, except for up there inside the far upstate, Walhalla, Long Creek, Westminster, Salem, and then going down all the way down here towards the coastal region for downtown Charleston, Isle of Palms, Folly Beach, McClellanville, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach. And that is for, again, isolated flash flooding. So Friday is probably going to be the biggest time threat for some excessive rainfall, and that goes from Friday into Saturday morning. Now for Saturday morning going into Sunday morning, this shows again some more isolated flash flooding that's possible from Greenville to York to Camden, all the way over towards Myrtle Beach, Lourdes, Georgetown, Moncks Corner, and that is again Saturday going into Sunday. Sunday going into Monday, again, just another risk for some isolated flash flooding, and that goes again from pretty much the eastern upstate going into pretty much all the Midlands, most of the low country, especially the Tri-County area, and then all of the PD and the Grand Strand. So isolated flash flooding is pretty much going to be our thing the next 5 days, pretty much, as each day there is a chance, and everyone will get their shot. Everybody will get their shot of some isolated flash flooding sometime throughout the next 5 days. What day is it just determines on where you are, but for now it looks like for the most part that everyone will have their shot. So now that that is out of the way, what about excessive rainfall? Not excessive rainfall, but models, excuse me. We already just talked about excessive rainfall, so I want to go back to it. But here's the models right here, and this is what I wanted to talk about just because just what the models show here for the potential for the severe weather tomorrow kind of has me a bit, I'm not going to say confused, but just a bit interested, to say the least, just because it's not really looking all that confident, which, I mean, I guess that's why they have a marginal risk of severe weather out. But if you go on and push this forward, you can see that by around 5 a.m., we're still not seeing any sort of rainfall, still looking good. Then once we get to around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, shower activity pushes in to the upstate, and it goes through, gets all the way to around 10, 11 to 12 p.m., going into around 1 p.m., and then there goes some shower and downpour activity up there inside of the upstate. Now, if you continue even further, go all the way into the afternoon, all the way to around 4, 5 p.m., there goes some of that shower and thunderstorm activity, some of that severe weather moving through. And as it goes on all the way to 9 p.m., you can see it's 9 p.m. These showers and storms haven't even made it to the southern Midlands yet, has not even made it to the PD, has not even made it to the Grand Strand, has not even made it to the Low Country yet. And it's already 9 o'clock p.m. And then once it gets to the southern Midland, you can see it makes its way through the PD, it makes its way through, still 12 o'clock in the morning, still has not made it to the Low Country or the Grand Strand yet. And look at when it finally gets to the Low Country and the Grand Strand area. This is what we see. Now, if you're looking at your screen right now, you might be asking, what are we looking at here? What are we supposed to be? Isn't there supposed to be like a huge system here with some severe weather? Technically, yes, but you're not really seeing too much convection from this, and so the energy is there. The energy is there, but the convection is not, and that is why we have that marginal risk of severe weather, because it is too uncertain at this time, and that's why the threat is low. And if the convection does not pop off and does not go like we think it will go, then there will be no severe risk. And there's actually a good chance that some people might not even see a drop of rain. It's possible. It's possible. You're under a threat for some severe weather, yet you receive a drop of rain. That's completely inside of the question at this point. Now, if you continue this even forward, you can still see some more shower and potentially downpour/thunderstorm activity going on inside the upstate on now September 26th, moving into the 2 p.m. time frame. And you start to see some more thunderstorm activity start to go into Friday, because Friday we also have another thunderstorm risk, but it's not supposed to be too severe. Not supposed to be severe at all. We'll see if they change it. But for now, nothing severe for Friday, just tomorrow. And like I said, I'm definitely seeing the threat possibly for the upstate and maybe for the northern Midlands, but models change, things change. We'll talk about it more tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we definitely will have a better idea of what it will look like. And by the time we get the video out tomorrow morning, you definitely will still have some time to prepare for it if things go the wrong way. Now, what about our long-term future? So this is like the next 300 to 400 hours or so. As you push this forward, look at all this rainfall that's going on all the way through the 27th to 28th. This is where all of our excessive rainfall is going to come from. And that's why we have multiple days of isolated flash flood threats. Now, then you have some moisture coming in from the Atlantic that comes in from most likely future Imelda. And that one just kind of moves its way through. And then for the most part, things dry off a little bit. As we get into October, things dry off. Coastal areas will see some more rainfall potentially as you move into the first couple of days of October. And then as you get more into around October the 7th, we really can't go any further than this in terms of in-depth reasoning, and that's because it's way too far out. But we can look at patterns, and obviously this hurricane that's right here has been here tonight, and it was here last night as well, so that's something to watch for. That actually came from the Gulf, so that would be interesting to see how that one develops as we go into the 7th. But other than that, that's all that I have for the actual long term. Other than that, I don't think that there's anything else I really want to touch about on the long term, except for obviously the tropics, because that timer, ignore the timer, but the main thing is that I wanted to talk about is how Humberto can impact how this next storm impacts us. And honestly, it's more like a Humberto will impact how this next storm impacts us. It most likely is will. And we're going to go on and explain all that in a second. I'm about to go into my soliloquy mode because when I show you the models, obviously you'll see what I'm talking about. But first, before we get there, Gabrielle is out here. It's actually an 100-mile-per-hour storm. It's forecast to go towards the Azores late on this Thursday as a hurricane. A hurricane warning is in effect for all the islands of the Azores, and hurricane conditions are likely Thursday night and Friday. Significant hurricane force winds are likely across parts of the Azores even after the center passes. A dangerous storm surge is expected to produce significant coastal flooding as well, and the swell generated by Gabrielle will continue to affect Bermuda during the next couple of days and the east coast of the United States. From still talking about from North Carolina on, where we know about the rip current risk though. But one thing that I will say though, if you go into the experimental cone over here in Portugal, which I know is completely outside of the U.S., but I just want to show this because I thought this was kind of interesting. They will have their first tropical system before even us. Well, no, we did actually have Tropical Storm Chantal make it. So I guess technically we were the first, quote unquote. But like this storm right here will have its first landfall before Florida, before Georgia, before Alabama, before Mississippi. All of like this over here in Europe, they will have their first tropical system landfall before any of these other states as well over here inside the U.S. So I just thought that was kind of interesting to think about, though. But rip current for us, though, for tonight, it still shows that moderate risk. Tomorrow it's lower, and so we don't really have too much of a threat anymore for any sort of rip current. It's going to be, again, like I said, low. But now that that's Gabrielle out of the way and done for, Humberto now formed. It formed earlier today. It's a 40-mile-per-hour storm, and you can see for the most part, it's still uncertain where it's going to go. It's going to stay a tropical storm until seems to be around, honestly, they're so close together, I don't know what in the world they were trying to do here, but soon around 2 a.m., 2 p.m., so sometime either Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, it will become a hurricane, and then we'll have a better idea on where it's going to go. But right now, it's still uncertain. The cone of uncertainty has it going up, like if you look at the median track has it going more and more to the north and east, and the more just north than north and west. But for the most part, it still looks like that this might still have to be something that we're watching for, especially since there are still some individual ensemble members that just decide they want to go over towards South Carolina for some reason. But this is what it looks like right now. If I go on and check this out right here, here's what it looks like right now. It's pretty much just a blob of a tropical storm right now. And as you go on and move into the global hurricane models, you can see most of them have it taking that curve up to the north and east, but you have a couple that go more to the north and west. And so it's the same thing kind of with the GFS, you know, you have like a model, like a member here that might go this way, but for the most part, most of them have it going to the north and east away from us. And then even the GEPS, even though, like I said, it has this little single member over here that decides it wants to try and go over towards South Carolina, but most of them have it going away and more towards out into sea, you know, near Bermuda, places like that, potentially could receive something. But other than that, that's all really, I mean, model guidance we have. We have the European, but the European says the exact same thing. I can go in and show that one, though, I guess. But it pretty much just shows the same thing as the other ones. It's going to get up out of here, and it's not really going to cause too much for anybody. But you might still be asking the question, well, how in the world will that impact, obviously, the area that we are watching for to the west of it? And so if you go on and get out of this, and we're going to look at Invest 94, let's read the discussion that it says first. Showers and thunderstorms have become better organized since yesterday in association with a tropical wave centered near Puerto Rico. This wave is expected to move west to northwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, spreading heavy rainfall and gusty winds across Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic through early tomorrow. The system is then expected to slow down and turn northwest when it reaches the southwestern Atlantic. A tropical depression is likely to form when the disturbance is in the vicinity of the Bahamas late this week. Interest in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas should monitor the progress. There is a 40% chance of this thing forming over the next 48 hours and an 80% chance over the next 7 days. So that's this area right here that we're watching for. Ensembles for this one are actually what does it even look like right now on satellite. Here's what it looks like right now. It's, kind of close right now. Over here near like Haiti, Dominican Republic, areas like that. And it's just a blob right now. It's kind of just going, honestly, it looks like it's almost going to the south and east, but it kind of just moved its way back up to the north and west at the end of the run. But that's what it looks like. What about the actual models themselves? So the global hurricane models have taken a huge shift to the west. Now you do have a couple over here that still take that curve kind of early, but you have some of these ones that have taken a pretty big turn to the west. This is the 0Z as of September the 25th, 2025. If we go into the one from earlier today, I mean, it still was kind of west, but I think if you compare it to the one from actually last night, it might show a different story there. I don't think I can go back. I can't go back. But definitely a pretty big shift there, if I was to say so. Now, what about the GFS? The GFS, the median track for this one, shows it not getting close to us at all. You have a couple that may try to straggle its way towards South Carolina, but for the most part, most of it takes it up to the north and east away from us, but may cause some conditions for the coast. The GEPS, same thing, the median for it has it going more to the north and east, while you have a couple that moves towards South Carolina. So that means that we're definitely not out the area. And then in terms of intensity, the intensity for the most part is actually going to be around tropical storm to category 1/4, but you could potentially get higher than that, category 2, cat 3 at the max, it seems, from this one model right here. But that is it for, just the actual models and stuff like that we have. But what about the Euro? The Euro is the last one that I like to look at. And if you go and look at the Euro one, you can see pretty much it's doing almost the same thing as it moves its way more to the north and west. It goes into North Carolina a little bit, tries to go into South Carolina a little bit. And so the main thing that I want to say is that we are still not out of the woods yet with this system, and I've been talking about it. There is obviously that chance that it will go to the north and east and not impact us at all. But the fact that we're seeing this huge shift to the west towards South Carolina obviously is not a good sign at all. But we'll continue to watch for it, and we will see what happens. And so this is a perfect time to say, if you don't have your hurricane plans in place now, go on and do so, because obviously this could obviously impact us. And speaking of, the main question is about to be answered, because I said Humberto will definitely, in fact, impact how this storm moves. And so if we just go on and look at the Euro AI one model real quick, there goes Imelda right there. Takes its way over, and actually let me go in and make it to where you can see everything. And actually we're going to go all the way to the western Atlantic so you can see even more. But right here you can see, there goes Humberto over here, and then there goes Imelda over here. Watch when Imelda makes its way towards South Carolina. It's at this point right next to South Carolina on September the 30th. And then there goes Humberto right there. You can see as it goes inland, it makes that landfall, but then Humberto pulls it to the north, and it goes away from the coast. It gains more strength and goes right back into South Carolina and North Carolina again. That would be a crazy, obviously this is a possibility, because you can see that it's possible. It's here. You can see it right now on your screen. But if this was to happen, it would just, again, like I said, go up, hit South Carolina, turn around, go up towards Humberto, but then as Humberto goes and weakens, it's going to come on and go right back into that same direction that it went to. And that's why you saw some of those ensembles kind of had like a little bit of a spiral to it. This is why, because there's that chance that if Humberto gets strong enough, it's going to pull it out to C. It's going to strengthen it a little bit more. And if it's strong enough, it will pull it with it and take it completely away from us just in general. But if it weakens quicker, then it will lose that grip and Imelda will go on the original track that it was forecasted to go just in general. But that's just a crazy thing right there that I can just say for sure. I haven't seen on the models just yet because obviously it's been a hot minute since we've had two hurricanes that's this close to us. It's been a long time since that's happened, most likely. So it's just crazy stuff that you can see here, and so that's my reasoning as of why Humberto can definitely impact how this storm will impact us for the future. But this is one model run. Obviously, this might just be an outlier here. If you go to the Euro is kind of saying close to the same thing, but instead of it actually going towards us, it actually gets towards us. Humberto pulls it, and then it goes back up. But instead of going towards us, it goes over into Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, up there to New York City, etc. So that's what I mean by it will have that pull effect towards it. But that's all that I have really for the tropics. So if you have any questions on that, you can go on and ask me. But let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula says, good evening, everyone. Beautiful day in Georgetown today. That's great to hear. Great to hear. Glad that it was a beautiful day. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope y'all had a great day. Please remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. He's absolutely correct. I was just talking about it earlier because we have 25 people. We've had 25 people tune in, and we only have 7 likes. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's happening with the other 26 now. So I don't know what's going on with the other 19 people that have not hit the like button yet. But if you're a part of that 19, go on and hit the like button. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. My cousin Cheryl then comes in and says, good evening, Weatherman. Hope all is well. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone had a very amazing day. I'm at work, but I'm listening with the man. Keep doing your amazing job. I love you, Cheryl. Thank you so much for that comment as well. And thank you for listening to us while you're at work. Mr. Chris says, had a very hot day. Looking forward to some rain. Some rain definitely is on the way, especially this weekend with some isolated flash flooding possible. So, yeah, some rain is definitely on the way this weekend. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Thad says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Hope all is well. All is well. Mr. Chris comes back and said, I've been watching different forecasts, and some shows the second one may come close. And, yeah, like I just said earlier, it definitely will. It will come pretty close. Now, again, where will it go? That's the waiting game. That's the waiting game. This is probably the most watched for storm that at least I've ever watched. Because obviously I'm checking every update, seeing what's going on with it, because just of how much another hurricane / tropical storm can impact it. That's a pretty big factor. That is a pretty big factor. And if they somehow do make the cone and they start making the cone kind of curve, that would be pretty interesting to see. So I am watching that one, probably the hardest I've ever watched a system before. He also said we made halfway through the week. Absolutely. We are past Wednesday, going into Thursday tomorrow. My Nana says, Lil J, a hot day all day. I got my mail out the box at 6 p.m. and it was still hot. And you think it was hot today? Just wait till tomorrow. If you tune into the morning forecast update, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. But that's for the morning people. Let's see what I'm talking about. And then Mr. Chris says, don't be scared, be prepared. He's absolutely correct. Do not be scared of a storm. Instead, you should be prepared for a storm. And so that's all that we have inside the audience. So you still have time. If you are a subscriber, go on and comment inside of the chat right now. It's free. You just need an account. So now let's go and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, what in the world do I mean by the 4 locations? Obviously, that being San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those 4 locations is because we have people from those areas who, in fact, tune in almost nightly, if not sometimes nightly. And so I just decided to show my appreciation going and do their forecast, even though it has nothing to do with their area. So starting off first, we have San Antonio. We have low temperatures tonight at 74, high temperatures tomorrow at 91, and the low temperatures tomorrow night at 71. Showers are likely tonight. Showers are indeed likely tonight. And then there is a chance of showers tomorrow during the day, but not tomorrow night. What's going on with you currently? Currently, right now, there's not much. I mean, you do have like some isolated showers around the city, but it's nothing really, too much of what's going on there. Now, what about the SPC outlook in severe weather, excessive rainfall? Right now, it seems like that there is no risk for severe weather for tonight. And then for excessive rainfall, you actually do have a chance for some excessive rainfall as you move into the next 5 days or so. But no severe weather is expected. Excessive rainfall, isolated flash flooding is possible tonight. And other than that, that's all that I have there. Now for Raleigh, what's currently going on with you? It's currently dry over there. Nothing really going on in terms of rainfall there. You have low temperatures tonight at 71, high temperatures tomorrow at 92, and the low temperatures tomorrow night at 70. No precipitation is expected tonight, but a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow during the day, and thunderstorms are likely tomorrow night. Now for excessive rainfall, you do in fact have a risk for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, excessive rainfall is possible. It's isolated, so it's not going to be, too bad, but it's still there. You also do have a chance for some severe weather tomorrow. Tomorrow you do have a marginal risk of severe weather, and that is for damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour is possible. So isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Now, the next location being Philadelphia. Now, what's going on currently? I mean, nothing going on throughout the city, but you have rain pretty much all around the city, but not going on actually in the city. You have low temperatures tonight at 70, high temperatures tomorrow at 79, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 68. Showers are expected tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, so you definitely will need that umbrella with you. And not only that, but severe weather is also possible tomorrow. Not only do you have the chance for some isolated damaging wind gust of up to 60 miles per hour, but isolated tornado. Yes, an isolated tornado is possible. One, a tornado or two cannot be ruled out. Now, it's not looking to be strong, but a 2% chance is still a 2% chance. So I definitely would still keep an eye out on that. And then finally, excessive rainfall for you. You actually, in fact, do not have a chance for any sort of excessive rainfall for the next 5 days. The final location being Duncan, Oklahoma. What's currently going on over there right now? Nothing is going on over there right now. And you have low temperatures tonight at 59, high temperatures tomorrow at 82, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 58. No precipitation is expected, no severe weather is expected, and no excessive rainfall is expected at this time. So that's going to wrap that up for those 4 locations. What's going on throughout the entire U.S. In Arizona and New Mexico, heavy to excessive rainfall from monsoon thunderstorms will also bring isolated flash and urban flooding Thursday into Sunday. The close proximity of tropical storm Humberto and tropical wave 94 could lead to an interaction between them, and details of their long-range track and intensity forecast and any potential impacts are more uncertain than usual. And that's some wording that I've never heard them say before, just from me. Maybe they've said it with other people, back in the past before I was really into weather like that. But they say the details of their long-range track and intensity forecast and any potential impacts are more uncertain than usual, pretty much meaning that this is probably the most uncertain, or one of the most uncertain situations that we've seen from a hurricane/tropical storm, at least for a long time. So that's just how uncertain this is. So definitely give your meteorologist that may be local or anything like that, like me, for example, as well. Give us some grace, just because it's just way too unusual of a subject, really, to be nailing exactly what in the world's going to happen with this. And that's pretty much all that I have. So hopefully that is all that we have inside the audience. I don't see anything else right now. Top fans for tonight, Mr. Chris is at number 1. Mr. Anthony is at number 2. And then my Aunt Lula is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. And so that's all that I have. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Thursday morning forecast update. Drought Monitor comes out tomorrow. Drought Monitor comes out tomorrow, and I probably should say it now. Obviously, due to it indeed being my birthday on Friday, I will not be here on Friday evening. So, I'm just going to let you know that now. I will be here tomorrow and tomorrow night and Friday morning, but I will not be here on Friday evening. I just want to go on and say that real quick. But other than that, that's all. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, and I will be back tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. Remember, Drought Monitor tomorrow.